Well, this is their little Florida room, we call it, and it's about 9 by 19. And that is their little 4-foot electric strip heater. It's used for emergencies only because it does cost a lot of money. And we use that to heat up this little room so we can paint the door. I say we, my son painted the door. He primed and painted it. And we've got the edges done. And now we're heating the room up. We just got here. We'll go across the street to the shed and start on the workbenches while the room heats up. And then he can get another coat on the edges, and this is the exterior of the door. And we can install it and always paint the interior later. You need good lighting when you paint, otherwise you will miss spots. And so we use that little work light up that you can elevate to get good light. This is a basic layer of the framework for the top of my workbench. It's 72 inches long, it is 30 inches wide, and it's going to be 36 inches above the floor. I've already cut the post so that when I put the 3/4 plywood on top of that, it will be 36 inches tall. So they're 35 1/4. These are 6 feet long, less this. 6 feet long, less two 2x4s that are on each end. So 2 of those is 3 inches, 72 less 3 is 69, and then you need to divide this space up, 6 individual parts between it with 5 joists. And you mark these out. If you just divide 6 into 69, you'll get about 11 3/16 between the center of each one, and you just mark off the 2x4s, and they're marked up the same up there. Then all I have to do is drill these out, put them up there, drill through it, and that'll make the base for the top. Well, that's the base with the legs on it, and it's upside down. These 2 boards is to go around about equal distance. We're going to make a 16-inch shelf, and 16 inches from the floor. This will be sitting on the floor, and we'll put this board around here just like that one, and we'll put plywood on top of it, but we're only going to come out from the back about 15 or 16 inches. I think it's 15 inches. That way I'm going to have a bar stool in here, and when I'm working on something, I can sit at the bar stool and my feet won't be hitting boxes underneath this workbench. All the rest of them have a full shelf on the bottom. Just something to think about. Even when you stand up next to a workbench, you need somewhere for your feet to go. Just like your counters in your kitchen, the ones in your counters have a setback so that your feet will go under. Well, that's the way this will work. It's just to be deeper because the shelf's only going to be about 15 inches wide. But this was 30, that was 72, or that was 69, and with these 2, one on each end, that makes it 72, which is 6 feet. That's 30 inches for the top of your shelf. And since you have one of these on the top and the bottom, you had to cut these 27 inches to support your top. And these were 35 1/4, and when I put 3/4 inch plywood on the top, it'll be 36 inches tall. And that's really a good height to have for a workbench. Now I need to mark these for the joists for this shelf that's going to go up there. Remember, the table's upside down. Easiest way to do it, since you've already taken the time to mark that out correctly, is just put your square up against that and draw your lines. And you hear me talk about a storyboard. Well, I need to make another set after this, but since two of these is too long for the inside of the shed, it's going to have to be shorter. But I'm going to take another 2x4 out of that stack and put it up here and draw the lines on it, because it's going to be the same dimensions. And then when you put that one and attach it to the leg there, it gets really rigid. You have a little box here for strength, another one. You got 6 boxes for strength. You have this for strength. Now this is strength. When I put another one of these up here, it'll be flat, solid, and it won't go anywhere. And when you put the top on it, that's where it all the strength comes from. Well, this bench is done. We got to put the top on it. We'll cut that the next time we come down here. And it's a half shelf, a little more than a half shelf, because it's a 30-inch wide top shelf and the bottom's 18. I cut those the way that were on the top, but I'll just trim that off with a saw. I've got one on each side where I had, it worked out that it helped me because I could mount that to the post while I put all the center of that together in place on this table we had. Because we were working on top of this table, and my son and I put it in the floor and pushed it over here. But anyway, it's pretty sturdy. It isn't going anywhere. It'll hold anything. And since plywood costs so much money, they're about $35 plus tax a sheet for 3/4. And this table's 6 feet long, and the next one will be about 5.5 feet long. I'm going to take and cut it 30 inches wide times 8 feet. And then when I build my next section right here, I'm going to have 2 of these where the plywood meets. And that way I can maybe not waste so much large plywood. I'd hate to use 2 sheets just to cover a 10.5 foot workbench, since it's 16 feet long for 2 sheets. But that's what we're planning on doing. And that little piece there is the original if you had a full shelf. And I'm just gonna, there's so many screws holding us together, you can see right there. I'm just gonna cut it off with a regular saw.